let's talk a little bit about the brain and what's happening in the brain. I already talked about the neocortex, but let's go back to the examples of experiencing an amygdala hijack versus the interconnectedness, the listening to connect feeling that you've experienced in conversations. When you are in an amygdala hijack, what is happening in the brain is your cortisol levels are upregulating. They're increasing. Your adrenaline is increasing. And why that is important is because when you have an excess of cortisol, your brain is going to keep you in the primitive part of, which is where the amygdala resides. So it's the fight, flee, freeze, appease scenario. It's going to keep you locked in there. The only way for it to physiologically access the prefrontal cortex, which is where trust resides, is by decreasing cortisol levels and increasing oxytocin and dopamine levels. And oxytocin and dopamine levels are that feel good, the two dogs playing, the listening to connect, that safety, that trust. And in order for you to access that, you have got to decrease your cortisol levels. So how can you, Cindy or Beth or Leanne, how can you actually go in and change the neurochemistry of someone else? I mean, is that even possible? And yes, it is. It absolutely is. Because the body works in patterns again. So when our prefrontal cortex opens up, this is when you can access the executive brain. And the executive brain is, where innovative thinking occurs, where strategic thought takes place, where that collaboration and co-creation is taking place. Your brain is actually being primed to do those things when it's operating from the prefrontal cortex versus in the amygdala, you can't do that. And then the other thing that I want to point out is the limbic brain. The limbic part of your brain is responsible for how you're going to, it's the tribal brain. That's the way that I would describe it. That's kind of the assessment of, am I in the tribe or am I outside of the tribe? And that goes back to anthropology. Like, am I part of the tribe or am I outside of the tribe? And if I feel like I'm outside of the tribe, I'm going to shut down. I'm going to retreat. I'm going to walk away. If I feel like I'm in the tribe, okay, I'm going to move a little closer. This feels trusting. This feels open to me. And the limbic brain is responsible for that. So it's actually assessing, like, okay, am I in? Am I out? How do I feel? And then that's going to help either upregulate cortisol levels or upregulate oxytocin levels.